first Q&A. I got an amazing job offer verbally. I'm still waiting for the written offer, but I'm also waiting on another incredible offer to be made by a different company. How do I respectfully stall the first company so I have a little bit more time to field both and make a decision? Ooh, an embarrassment of riches. I love this. You must be a stud. So congratulations on getting so many offers. Obviously, you want to get every offer in writing. I've been reading a lot right now about the rescinding of job offers. So what's so weird that's happening right now is clearly companies are getting their ass kicked by inflation and the, concerns about the economy and the supply chain. It also seems to me like poor planning. Like I think actually rescinding an offer that you've made and somebody accepts sucks. It also shows that you have like really shitty business planning. So that's a non sequitur, and you didn't ask about that, but that's my opinion on it. So one, obviously you're going to make sure you get both offers in writing, and then you're going to decide which incredible offer you're going to take. The best way to stall, the stalling thing is stressful because you don't want to lose one of the offers. You don't want to give a weird impression to the company who wants to hire you, but you want to buy yourself time. So I think honesty is kind of the best policy on this one. So I have a couple thoughts on this one. One is, one way to stall is, I tend to be like this, which is when somebody writes you and it's something that you're interested in or want or you care about, you're like, respond back right away. Give a little beat before you respond. So if you get something from company one, let's say, don't respond that hour, don't respond that half a day, wait a day to respond, right? So that will naturally slow the pace down. Don't wait too long where they think you're uninterested, but it's totally respectable to wait a day. So one is control the pace as best you can and slow the pace as best you can. I think the second thing is just be honest about it, which is, I'm so excited to get this offer. I love this company. This is a dream job, or however you feel about it. What's been kind of overwhelming for me is there's other companies who've shown interest in me. They're also reaching out with offers. And I really want to be sure I'm being thoughtful and true to myself about the decision that I'm going to make. So the second piece of it, after you try to control the pace, is maybe just be forthright and say, so excited, love you, blah, blah, blah. I need a beat to be able to make a decision. Now, what you have to be aware of is the company might be like, too fucking bad, we want a decision by tonight, so that's a risk. Or they might be like, hey, no problem. Why don't you, how much time do you need? And in that case, I think you should say, hey, if you could give me X amount of time, maybe it's through the end of the week, maybe it's a week's time. So that's the second way you could go about it. The third way you could go about it is to kind of say, hey, I need to check this offer with my lawyer. I need to talk to my spouse. I want to think about this. I want to sleep on it. You can use words and actions like that to buy yourself a little bit of time. And honestly, I think you'll probably end up using some combination of all three. The other thing you can do is to use this decision period to speed one up and slow one down. So yes, you can slow company one down, but I would also tell company two, hey, I've got other things on the table, really interested in this job. I really want to consider it. I'm so grateful for the offer. It's important to me that I be able to make the right decision. So if you could, please get this to me by tomorrow, or please get this to me by the end of the week. So just try to control the pace as best you can. Try to be as forthright as appropriate and possible. And then use tactics like, hey, I need to sleep on this, or I need so-and-so to review it, to really try to get the best picture for yourself. And I'm excited for your new job. Speaking of job offers, here's question number 2. What is the best way to politely decline a job offer if it's not the right fit at the moment, but you might consider working at the company in the future? I mean, you just say just that. So you answer your own question. But certainly you can get a job offer at a place that you're really interested in working, but now isn't the right time. You need to understand, why isn't it the right time? I think a lot of times people don't take job offers because they're scared and something's holding them back, or something's in the way of making the decision that could actually be game-changing or awesome for you. So the first thing I would say on this question, which you didn't ask, is why isn't now the right time? Because if this is the right company and there was something interesting about it which made you apply to the job and go through the interview process, what is it that's holding you back? And I think honestly, if all of us spent more time thinking about what's holding us back from being happy, from feeling fulfilled, from being in the right relationship, from having the right job, from working at the right company, for being in the right shape or health, like I think if we spent more time looking inward at what holds us back, people would end up going much farther. So I would be sure to answer that question. If you're like, hey, it's not the right time because, I've got something going on in my personal life, or I'm not ready to make a change, or whatever. I think what you say to the company is, thank you so much for this opportunity. You gave me so much to think about. I could see myself here and think I could make have incredible impact on the company, but I'm going to decline the offer right now for reasons A, B, and C. I would have that conversation in person if possible, or definitely on the phone. And then I would be sure to follow that conversation up with an email and a letter I would write to the company so that you really make a mark on them. I think when you're having the conversation and you're explaining why you don't want to take that job, that you really stress, I love this company, I would love this to work. Now is just not the right time. And I'd love to come back to you in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, and see if we could make something happen. I think the company will obviously be disappointed. I think one of the things is when you apply to a job, someone's expecting that you want that job and are going to take that job. So if you apply to a job, get the offer, and then don't take it, the company can be a little bit like, what the fuck? So just know that you may be up against that a little bit, but be as forthright, be as polite as you can be, and really make your mark on saying no, and do it in a way that leaves the door open and also makes you memorable. And then obviously, most importantly, figure out why you're saying no. All right, informational interviews. How can you turn an informational interview into a job offer? And how can you change the conversation of nice to meet you into this is what I can do for you? I love this question because this is just like a question of opportunity and making the most of the moment and meeting the moment and making it an opportunity. So in an informational interview, what the person interviewing you is expecting is you're going to ask a lot of fairly stupid and asinine questions about the company, the job, the role, whatever. I think they're expecting you to be fairly ignorant, and they're expecting you to take a lot of notes. And I don't think they're expecting you to blow their minds in terms of thoughts and ideas about what the company could be doing. So the first thing I would say is, at the bare minimum, going into your informational interview, bring a pen and a piece of paper. It shocks me the number of people that go into a meeting without a fucking piece of pen and a paper. It drives me nuts. Like, I went to a meeting with a rapper, and we're like having a conversation, and I had a panic. Daniela was with me, and I was like, shit, can I borrow a pen? Like, I need a pen and a paper before I go into this meeting, which was essentially an informational interview. Always have a piece of pen and a paper. Always, always, always. I remember every meeting I had with Dave in the early days, he had a notebook and a piece of paper. And I did too. And if you really care about what someone has to say, it's a sign of respect that you actually take notes. So there is nothing worse for the person being interviewed who's giving you their time if you don't take any notes and you don't do anything with the conversation. That drives me nuts. Probably single biggest pet peeve. So for the love of God, have a notebook and a pen. Second is, don't come to the table with a bunch of stupid, ignorant questions. Do your research. Have questions that run the gamut of, easy questions, culture questions, business questions, revenue questions, employment questions. Like, run the whole gamut of questions about the business, but be smart about them. Don't ask, like when you're on Spotify, or maybe it was Apple Music that was like this, where it was like, you have like the hits, you got the deeper cuts, and then you got like the full set. Don't bother with the hits. Everybody knows the hit questions. Those are easy, they're predictable, they're obvious, they take zero thought to answer. Make sure you make it to deep cuts. Like, just make sure you have some deep cut questions. And then the last thing is go out on a limb and make a suggestion for the business or present an idea. You have nothing to lose. You're not interviewing for a job. It's not yours to lose. You only have something to gain by impressing that person with how you think. So that's my advice on informational interviews. Ooh, I love this next question. All right. How do you recover after a big fuck up at work? I love this. I fuck up all the time, so this is my kind of question. And how do you deal with coworkers that threw you under the bus? Ooh. When I first started this job, I made a mistake and had a lapse of judgment. It went under the radar for almost a year, but it recently came back to bite me in the ass. I love the swearing, first of all, my kind of person. Any advice on how to get through everyone making you a villain? I'm a good person and a great employee, but you start to believe the narrative that other people write about you when you're in the thick of it. I'm 100% leaving this job. I'm just feeling numb and frozen, and I'm having a hard time forgiving myself. One is like, everybody fucks up. Everybody fucks up in their personal life. Everybody screws up their body. Everybody, drinks something they shouldn't, kisses someone they wouldn't, like messes up at work. Like, it happens. So don't be so hard on yourself. Everybody fucks up. People make massive fuck ups. They make small fuck ups. I fuck up every day. So one is like, please, please, please forgive yourself, because this job doesn't matter. Your coworkers who hate you don't matter, but how you feel about yourself really does matter. And I know it's hard to forgive yourself, but you really have to try. The only thing that's unforgivable with a mistake is that you don't learn from it. And I think the biggest thing that I would say, your biggest fuck up in this isn't the fuck up. It's that you didn't come clean on it, or that you didn't do something about it for a year. I think the best way to make it through a screw up, like we talked about this with Hubs last week, is to kind of own it. I think it's a really good idea at work with your group, with your boss, with your coworkers, is to get ahead of it and to be upfront and outright with it. Hey, everybody here knows I messed up. I shouldn't have done X, Y, Z, ABC, 1, 2, 3. We're like imagining what you did. But hey, when I handled this project, I did something that was very wrong. Here's why I did it. Don't spend too much time on this, but if you want to give some context for why it happened, go for it. The second thing is, and the most important thing is, here's what I learned. Why did you do it? What'd you learn from that? How did it happen? What'd you learn from that? What do you regret in terms of the impact it had on your group or your coworkers or your business? I might go so far as to take your, nasty coworkers and to say, thank you so much for bringing this to the surface, right? They're not expecting you to say that. Your boss isn't expecting you to say that. But it's also like, thank you for bringing this to the surface. I've learned a lot from it. You've given me an opportunity to address something about myself and to turn that into a better future for myself. So I would get ahead of it. You could do this in person. You could do this as an email. You could do it in a group conversation. You can do it in one-on-one conversations, whatever's most comfortable for you. I think with your boss in particular, I would be sure you have a one-on-one and just say, you know what, I'd like to put this to bed. And here's why I think here's why I think I deserve the opportunity to put this to bed, and go through those same things. Here's what's happened, here's what I've learned, and here's what I'm committed to going forward so that this never happens again. Look, if this is weighing on you so much and it's making where you are an impossible place to be fulfilled and to thrive, you 100% should go get a new job. But don't go into that new job thinking you're bad at what you do, or you're a horrible person, or you suck. Like, go into the new job of like, wow, my biggest takeaway from this job was that I messed up at this and I should have done that. Never make that mistake again, and go give yourself a fresh start somewhere else.